Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode number 6 of Playing with House Money present the Soccer Gambling Cognoscenti. I am Ice at Iceman_1013, and this is my consigliere, DJ Prue at PrueBaby10 on Twitter. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It was funny. Somebody in the Gilded the other day asked me what the SGC stood for again, and put me on the spot. And I was like, I didn't want to spell it out in the Gilded because I can't, Now I got it. It's the soccer gambling cognoscenti. I like that.
Yeah.
So now I can, I had to make sure I look back. Like, let me make sure I don't spell this wrong, and let me get Nate. It was Nate the other day. I hit him on a message though. I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah, man. It's
happy to be here though.
I don't know where it came from.
How could I not be happy to be here?
How could we not, man?
After week 5, it's like, I don't know, man. This might just be life now.
Would be fantastic if it was. I mean, hey, like we talked on yesterday's episode of Playing with House Money about, we had some ups and downs. It was a bit of a roller coaster, and we finished on a high. It was pretty similar for the SGC on the soccer front. We actually started. Haven't got it in the doc, because it wasn't me, but we actually started Thursday night with a freaking Brandon absolutely smashed a Liga MX anytime goal scorer parlay plus 6,000.
Yeah, 6,100 plus, literally plus 6,100.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the credit for the fact that we gave him his own channel a couple weeks back. So yeah, get in the Discord because you get all of the winners that I'm just about to tell you about. You get all of Prue's stuff for the MLB, the NFL. Again, if you don't know how many winners we've had, check the episodes of Playing with House Money. Check the Twitter. See how many of those we won last week. Now we've got Brandon doing his thing with the Liga MX, which, for those of you that don't know, is the Mexican soccer league.
And that's not even the first time. That's not even the first time we've mentioned him. People would know. On Playing with House Money, we mentioned him actually. A few weeks back. It's been a little while now, but it was the one where he had like the 19-year-old or something like that kid that none of us even knew.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And he had first goal in it, so it's like the guy knows his stuff. Anybody we have in there, we're all like-minded people, and so we don't agree on everything, but if we did, we would all be millionaires. So obviously, if you're gambling, that's an up and down. That's obviously the goal, but it's not realistic to go into it thinking that I know everything. I know how to gamble on every sport or every conference, every division, or every team. And yeah, if you guys get in there, you got me, Ice. You got every sport basically almost too. I mean, soccer, football, college football, basketball. Hell, this weekend we're having golf, pay-per-view fights. So it's definitely get in there. Yeah, shout out Brandon, man. That was a crazy plus 6,100, and unfortunately, I will admit I missed most of it. But I did jump heavily on to the last leg for the first score. I know everybody needed any time, but I jumped on the first score and we hit in the 7th minute or 6th minute. It was as sweat-free as you could possibly get.
And it's funny enough, it was the irony of it being that the guy that he needed to cash and the guys in the Discord needed to cash that last one ended up scoring 2 penalties. He scored twice in that game, scored 2 penalties. And when we talk about our Friday, it was Balogun missed 2 penalties in the same game, which would have... We ended up Friday down a unit because of this miss. He missed 2 penalties in the game. And
we only needed one.
He only needed one, would have cashed the plus 1,200. The 2 would have cashed another plus 1,200 if he'd have got that, because we played the 2 on his own, which I mentioned on last week's show. That would have been 2 1,200s, would have meant that instead of a -1 unit day, we were probably at well over 10 units for the Friday, and on top of the plus 6,100 that Brandon threw in there, the Discord would have been up a stupid amount of money going into Saturday. But yeah, it's the way it goes sometimes. The kid missed 2 penalties, keeper saved them both, and that was it. The game finished 1-0. They ended up losing the game. And again, it was one of those frustrating things like you talked about on last week's episode. Like the game was just so much going in Monaco's favor. They had so many chances. They missed the 2 penalties, had a goal ruled out for offside, that I sat there and went, well, Nice are going to win this game 1-0. That's soccer. That's soccer all over. Like, should be 3-0 to Monaco, and Nice will go and score. And they did go and score. And they won. Nice won the game 1-0, and it was about the only chance they had in the second half. And I should have posted that in the Discord, because it was, when I looked at it, it was like plus 600, and it was a Friday and Saturday of that kind of thing for me. Like we hit, Stuttgart did what they needed to do in Germany on Friday. Germany Saturday morning, and the EPL was a little bit funky. We actually went down 5 units on Saturday. And me and you had a conversation.
And it's crazy because it's crazy that you mentioned it in that way. I wanted to make sure I jumped in here, because it wasn't the teams we thought wouldn't do. Like I think the only team we really thought like would really come out and do it was Bayern and probably RB. And like Bayern came out and obviously just absolutely destroyed them. But I mean, dude, RB, and we had a couple teams that morning that just did not show up. They were watching the game from home.
Yeah, I mean, and it was similar even in the Premier League. Like Man City were 2-0 up after 20 minutes, and then that was it. We went live on Man City to score a third in the first half. They didn't get it. They had Rodri sent off right at the start of the second half, and that was it. Game finished 2-0. And I know a lot of people would have been on. We weren't. Like, I hate taking teams, especially like the likes of City and Barcelona and the like, whose lines like for the spread are minus 2.5. That's a lot to expect of a side, and when these are all professional teams. You know what I mean? Like, you're not playing a cut. You're playing against a side that's not just going to roll over. And I know we're talking about, Bayern can come out and do it. And the annoying thing was Bayern were 3-0 up after half an hour, and you text me and said, they really, they had their Weetabix this morning. And I said, well, this game was either going to be 7-0 or 1-0. I said it. I only said it to you. I didn't say it to the Discord. I didn't even look at what the price was.
I failed you. I don't know if I told you this. I definitely failed you on this. The second you said that they could score 7, I go to those lines.
Yeah.
The 6.5 was plus 390, and I never bet it.
Yeah. And
5 minutes later. And 5 minutes later, they scored the 4th in the first half, bro.
Yeah, and like FanDuel was telling me on Saturday morning, and I told you this, like, and I didn't tell you why. I didn't tell you why FanDuel was telling me not to bet on Saturday. Matthias Tell is a guy that plays for Bayern. He comes off the bench about 65, 70 minutes, depending on how the game's going. Kid scores off the bench most weeks. He comes on, it's 5-0. I'm like, okay, well, they're definitely scoring a 6th. They're definitely scoring a 6th. Is he going to get the 6th one? So I looked and I'm like, okay, he's plus 400 anytime. Done. Place the bet as I'm getting to the store. My kid's going nuts in the car. So I'm placing the bet before I get out. It's throwing it down with rain. Placing the bet before I get out of the car. And FanDuel does that whole dismiss, like, there's been an error placing your bet. No, not changed. Just like there's been an error placing your bet. Like, check your bet slip to see if it placed. And I'm like, oh, it does this to me all the freaking time, and it always places the bet. So it's done. Put it in my pocket. Got the kid out the car. Got into the store. Goes to look. 6-0. Matthias Tell. I'm like, happy days. Go to the bet slip. Didn't place. And I was like, wow. And then by the time I get to the bet slip, there's like 3 minutes of the game left. How many for a 7th goal? oh, suspended 7-0. And I was like, are you kidding me?
He didn't score the seventh, though.
What?
He didn't score the seventh, though, did
he didn't. He didn't score
the
seventh one. No.
Oh man.
But yeah, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm gonna take a bit of a, we're down. Like, didn't go the way we wanted it to. With a couple of the other games in Germany and in England. So I was like, let's just take the afternoon off. We'll come back. We'll attack the MLS Saturday night. And if we'd have played the entire 12 games of the MLS slate, and we took, team totals or over 2.5s or both teams to score that I wanted to lay out for each of the 12 games, not just the 6 that we talked about on the show, but we went all 12. I went 11 of 12. And we'd have played all 12 legs. They're all just like that minus 110 to minus 150 kind of area. So, you're round robining by 8s, 9s, 10s, whatever you wanted. You would have cashed out plus 3,000s, plus 6,000s all day. Like, it was one of those slates where everything went the way I thought it would, except for one game. Except for Philadelphia against LAFC, which finished 0-0. And the most annoying thing about that is, again, what I'd said to you. When I went back in Saturday afternoon to relook at these games, I went, this is going to be a close one. This, like, historically, this game's like 1-1. Like, this could be 3-2. And that's what I hoped for when we did the show last week, when I said the over 2.5. Philadelphia had a goal disallowed early in the second half. Danny Gazdag offside. That would have changed the entire game. Finished 0-0, killed every bet I had, and meant that the plus 1,300 or the plus 10, plus 1,000 that we talked about in the show missed by one leg.
And every bet we had, I was on that one for sure, because I just started laughing because that was the one we expected the goals in.
Yeah, and that was it. So that kind of had us down, but we came back Sunday. I was like, you're not going to keep me down all weekend. Like, I'm now down 6 units Friday, Saturday. Sunday, we basically swept. We came back Sunday. We came out the gate strong. We had the plus 200 that we talked about on the show last week. The 4 home teams, 2 goals apiece. That was basically stress-free. We took Brighton, Bayer, and Bodo over 2.5 goals. That was also pretty stress-free, plus 620. And in the Discord, we had a plus 1,000.
1080
It was 1080. Yeah, and it even, I thought it was even more than that. I was there stressing the Fiorentina game, thinking I needed a second goal in Fiorentina. With 5 minutes to go, I'm like, Fiorentina, the team that I talk about and said were my boys this season, are going to screw me. Went to see what the cash out offer was, because at the time Bayer had already scored 2. We needed them to get their third, and the cash out offer was basically at 100%. And I was like, the hell? Because Bayer had just got awarded a penalty to score their third goal, and I didn't actually have Fiorentina in the bet. As it turned out, Fiorentina did score a second in injury time, so that would have been, it would plus 1,500 if I'd have included it. But I did the sensible thing and didn't include it. But yeah, that Bayer Leverkusen penalty then cashed the plus 1085. So, that was a fantastic way to really finish the weekend. And actually seeing out the weekend, we had Orlando and Austin against LA Galaxy, played Sunday night. We don't normally get many Sunday evening MLS games. All of the big new Miami players were out. No Messi, no Jordi Alba, no Sergio Busquets. All of the ex-Barca boys were out. And I wanted to play whichever one of them was playing with the ex-Barcelona player that plays for Galaxy, Ricky Puig. And I was like, okay, you're not playing. I'm just going to play Puig straight. Plus 400 anytime. Boom. Game got delayed so long, bro, that it was gone midnight on the East Coast by the time it kicked off. I thought it was going to get suspended into into Monday.
Yeah.
Woke up in the morning, saw it was 3-3, and I was like, come on, they've scored 3 goals. And he got one. So that was just a great thing to wake up to on Monday morning with those. And yeah, it was a lovely, put us at plus 15 units for the day, plus 9 on the weekend. So that's put us, month of September, month to date, we're at plus 105 units. So I know you keep on about me talking the ish and not leaving it up to you, but hey, I'm not going to sit here and toot my own horn.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that we're plus 105 units in the month of September. And if you want to join the Discord, you should join the Discord. It's free right now. Code NFL Kickoff. Get in before the weekend.
You know how much a year? A year costs 1.2 units.
Yeah.
You can get it for 1.1 units in the next couple days. Being up 105 units after 5 weeks is like the equivalent of you seeing a guy put $10 and hit just 10,000, and you're just like, what the hell? I gotta go follow that guy. But you're not gonna see that guy he ain't gonna hit that 10,000 again until December. You just go do it over here week after week. If you can't wait 5 weeks for 100 units, I don't know, you shouldn't be gambling, I guess. But 105 units in 5 weeks after going down 6 units the first 2 days of last weekend, might I add, is just you can't say it enough. If you gamble, you know how crazy that is, and I know you have every bit of document to back all that up. So it's insane. I can't say enough. SGC has just an insane start, absolutely unreal, and I know it's going to keep going because I know who I'm talking about.
Yes, bro. Like tonight or this afternoon's games, I don't like them too much. We got Lens playing in France. They've been massively underwhelming. Dortmund and Barcelona both playing, and we talked in the Discord about Barcelona a little bit the last last few weeks, and I don't bet Barcelona. There's zero value in them for me this season. They're at home this afternoon, so that, like, if you were going to go that way, but minus 320 on the money line. They're at home to Sevilla. Barcelona have just come off the back of 2 games that they were down. They drew 2-2 on Tuesday afternoon away at Mallorca. They're not a good side. They drew 2-2. They were down 1-0 and 2-1 at halftime. They got back to 2-2. They were down 2-0 last Sunday. Celta Vigo, I think they played. They were 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go. They won 3-2, but that was again, like, away from home. There's zero value in this Barcelona team right now. Like, the way they're playing, minus 300 away from home on the money line, minus 250 for them to score 2 goals. Like, hey, like, they've done it, but they don't look good doing it. Like, I'm not confident in them for a price like that. At home is a slightly different story. They do have Sevilla's number, but you have to go all the way for them to score 3 goals at plus 144 for there to be anything that I'd be close to wanting to bet. And on a Friday afternoon, there's just much better stuff, much more value on Saturday for me. And Dortmund I think Dortmund are away to Hoffenheim, and I actually feel like if I was betting anything, it would be the Hoffenheim money line at plus 200. Hoffenheim are actually hot, they're unbeaten in their last 5. They have 5 wins on the bounce, so that's value to me. Hoffenheim team total at minus 106 for them to score twice. That you could add, like that I'd be tempted by. Hoffenheim to score 3. It's a stretch. It's a bit of a Friday afternoon lotto. But Hoffenheim and Barca both to score 3+ at around +950. That's some value that I could get on board with, but nothing too heavy. Certainly not like last weekend on Friday, because I just don't trust any of these teams playing Friday afternoon. Saturday is where it's at though. Saturday's Premier League slate is the first Premier League slate in a long time that I've been a fan of, like more than just one or two games of. We have a 7 a.m. kickoff Eastern time, so I know you're going to love getting up early to watch that one. 6 a.m. for you. Aston Villa v Brighton. This game to me has, you could go any one of a number of different ways. Over 2.5, both teams to score, either team's team total. I'd be confident that all of those are going to hit. This game for me, I think, goes 2-2. The only thing that makes me think that doesn't happen is that it's the 7 a.m. kickoff. If this game was on the main slate, I'd be all over all of that. Best value for me, though, is the Brighton team total. Over 1.5 for Brighton at -115. They just went to Manchester United, who have a decent side, and put 3 past them. So to go to Villa again have decent home form, but yeah, I think Brighton, they're the underdogs in this game, but they've got a side that can go and score goals. It's not to say I don't think Villa will score. Like I said, I like all of those bets in this game. You could go any which way. You take whichever side of that, and I would like it. Then you have Everton at home to Luton, and normally I wouldn't go anywhere near this game, but Everton had just rolled over Brentford away, and you know that we love Brentford. They're a good side. Everton went there and scored 3 goals, and Everton, it's the first time that Everton have looked decent this season, and they're at home. They're off the back of that huge win, riding that wave back at Goodison Park against New Boys Luton, who have conceded basically 3 goals a game. So I like the Everton team total, like them to score twice there. You know, they're really starting to hopefully look. You know, they've just signed Beto from Udinese. He's played a couple of games now. He's starting to really fit in well. Newcastle at home to Burnley. They thought they were Bayern Munich at the weekend, and they scored 7 away at Sheffield United. So their team total, them back at home, and then funnily enough, Sheffield United are away to West Ham. And again, West Ham, we've talked about multiple times. West Ham lost to Liverpool, but West Ham score goals. They've got goals in that side. And again, back at home against a team that just conceded 7. Like, these guys to score 2 goals, Everton, Newcastle, West Ham, and then rounding it off with Man City away at Wolves. You know, those 5 teams, including Brighton, you can switch Brighton and Villa, whichever way you want to go in that game, gives you basically roughly the same price. Going to be between +700 and +800. But I love that for 10 goals, especially those 10 goals. Newcastle, West Ham, Man City. You could ladder any of those 3 at 3 and 4. What I will very likely do is take all 3 to score 3+ at +1260, and then I will take the 4+ and I'll round robin it by 2.
Okay.
And the minimum return there is +1900.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, Newcastle just scored 7. They're at home to Burnley. That one I like. West Ham, Sheffield United have just conceded the 7. And Man City, historically against Wolves, have got like 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, I think, in the last 4 games. So I think they're going to score definitely 3 if it goes the right way. Taking the 4s and RR in them at, you know, +300, +400 for each one, I think might be the way I go there. And then similarly, what we're talking about with Man City there, having history over the rival that they're away to. Paris Saint-Germain, start of the season, they lost Neymar, they lost Messi, so it was just Kylian Mbappe, and they struggled first few games. Recently, we've seen the real PSG come back. They've scored 3, 4, 2, 2, and 4 in their last 5 games. They're away against Clermont, form-wise, worst team in League One. Clermont gave up 4 at home to Monaco last month. They've lost both other home games. The last 2 years, 5-0, 6-1. PSG went to Clermont and scored 6 in 2021. Went and scored 5 in 2022. So, hey, they might come down to 4 if you follow the logic. But 4 goals for PSG at plus 420 when they've scored 4 goals twice in their last 4 games.
Right.
I love that value. I'm definitely taking the PSG over 2.5 team total at plus 148. That for them to score 3 at plus 150 is I think huge value there. So definitely on that one. And then we'll have the standard German stuff in the Discord. Not going to go through the German early games, but the late game in Germany is both of them. It's Red Bull Leipzig at home to Bayern Munich. So it's a huge game.
And they gotta answer. They gotta answer from last week, man. That was crazy.
You would think so. But this game for me is either under 2.5 goals or over 4.5 goals. I don't think there's an in-between. I don't think this is a 2-1 game. This is either 1-0, 1-1. The 1-1 correct score is plus 800, by the way. Or it's a 4-1, 4-2, either way. And it could go either way. These two sides, over the last 3 or 4 years, have been the two in Germany. Like Dortmund got close to winning the league last season, but Leipzig have been there, and they've been doing their thing for the last couple of years, and they've got to the Super Cup twice in the last 3 years as well, and they've played Bayern in the Super Cup both times, and one they won 3-0, the other they lost 5-3. Like these two, there's no one has one up on the other.
Right.
The last 4 head-to-heads in the league at the Red Bull Arena have been 1-1, 1-1, and then Bayern have won 1-0 and 4-1. So the 4-1 is the only one that stands out in their last 4 league games that's gone over 2.5 goals. But Red Bull haven't won a game at home. The Super Cup game they lost 5-3 was also in Red Bull Arena.
Oh, wow.
The games that they have won, though, have been in Munich. It's a reverse kind of Bayern do better. Both these teams do better away from home against one another is what this tells me. Like the 3-0 and the 3-1 that Red Bull won were both at the Allianz Arena in Munich. So I kind of like Bayern for that reason, not just the fact that they scored, they're the form team coming in. They scored 7. Red Bull just scraped through 1-0 away from home. Like both of these teams are in form if you look at the win-loss records.
Right.
We know they can both score goals. Question is, which one turns up, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I think this one will be a nice one to look at some value standalone. We'll definitely have some SGPs on that one when it gets there. But yeah, like I say, like the under 2.5 at plus 200 isn't a bad play, but then going the same way. Over 4.5 at also plus 230 isn't terrible. And then on Sunday, literally is again, that Saturday slate that I've just talked about is where we're going to win our money this weekend. Not much on Friday, not much on Sunday. Sunday we're going to focus on the NFL. There's 2 games really, and it's 2 teams that I have picked before, and when I pick them, they don't do well. When I don't pick them, they do well. So take that into advice when you're betting here. But it's Roma at home to Frosinone. Again, they're at home to the new boys in the league. They've not been terrible. Frosinone, they have not been terrible as I expected them to be. But I still think Roma scored twice. And then it's Atletico. We took them a couple of weeks ago, and they were basically the only team that lost in our sixfold. And then they went out and beat Real in the Madrid derby at the weekend 3-1. So Atletico Madrid at home. Again, we're sticking at home. They're playing against Cadiz, who they've just scored 3 goals against Real. They can score 3 goals very easily against Cadiz. So, Roma to score twice, Atletico to score 3 times on Sunday for plus 300. That's about all I'm going to play on Sunday. Yeah, we've got MLS Saturday night. That'll be in the Discord. Don't love too much of it, but yeah, there'll be some plays Saturday night for that for sure. But we'll find one. We'll post one on TikTok. We'll post one on Twitter for the people that still don't believe. We'll post a couple of freebie winners. But hey, if you want the real winners for the MLS, get in the Discord. Use code NFL Kickoff. You get it for free. See what we're talking about.
Stop missing out, man. We can only say it so many times. 105 units in 5 weeks. That's all that needs to be said now.
Yeah.
Get you 20 units a week. If Ice doesn't get you 20 units a week, he'll send you 20 units. Don't worry. All right. Okay. I'm lying.
My lawyer says that we need to cut that
in like hundreds. It's all good though. It's literally 1.2 units a year. So I don't want to hear anything. You guys have no excuse.
No.
Get to the Gilded.
Again.
Get to the Gilded. Get to the YouTube. Like and subscribe, please. Ask about the Patreon. Follow us on Twitter. You can get us at PW_house money. You can, Prue Baby 10, Iceman _1013. Ask about to list the titles, all the stuff we have to offer. We got every sport, especially football. It's fantasy season. I know everybody wants sit, start advice, trade advice. We do everything. We do both footballs. We do any sport you'll ask us about. We can get you a guy to help you out with if we can't. So get there, follow us, like, review. We have some giveaways going on. Check that stuff out.
Yes.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys for coming. And if you're still asleep, I advise a Starbucks run immediately. This man is going absolutely. He's on a rampage. So
that's it.
That's it.
Yep. Thanks for watching and listening, everyone. Shoot the questions on the Twitter, as Prue said, at PW_house money. Good luck with all of your bets this weekend, whatever they are. We'll be back next Friday, inviting you to join us at the SGC.